Before the video starts, I want to say that I created a Patreon. There you can post ideas for videos and support the channel. Each topic from the Patreon will have its own video.
The Chaos Space Marines. These superhuman warriors, once the Imperium's finest defenders, now stand as its greatest threat, their souls corrupted by the insidious powers of the warp. The story of the Chaos Space Marines is one of betrayal, power, and damnation. It begins in the crucible of the Horus Heresy, a galactic civil war that nearly tore the Imperium asunder. This cataclysmic event, orchestrated by the War Master Horus, saw half of the Emperor's loyal Space Marine legions turn against their creator, seduced by promises of power and freedom from the constraints of imperial rule. But the roots of their corruption stretch back even further, to the very creation of the Space Marines themselves. The Emperor of Mankind, in his quest to unite humanity under his rule, created 20 Primarchs, genetically engineered demigods designed to lead his armies. These Primarchs were scattered across the galaxy by the forces of chaos, each raised on a different world, their experiences shaping their personalities and beliefs. When the Emperor found his lost sons and reunited them with their respective legions, he could not have foreseen the seeds of dissent that had already been sown. The Primarchs, for all their power and wisdom, were still human at their core, subject to pride, ambition, and the lure of forbidden knowledge. The fall of the Chaos Space Marines is a tragedy of epic proportions. These transhuman warriors, created to be humanity's shield against the darkness, became the very monsters they were meant to protect against. Their enhanced bodies and minds, once dedicated to the service of the Emperor, now channel the malevolent energies of the Chaos Gods. In the millennia since the Horus Heresy, the Chaos Space Marines have become a force of nature, a storm of violence and corruption that threatens to engulf the galaxy. They raid imperial worlds, despoil entire systems, and wage eternal war against their former brothers, the loyalist Space Marines. Each victory feeds their insatiable hunger for power. Each defeat only fuels their burning hatred for the Imperium. The Chaos Space Marines are not a unified force, but a fractured collection of warbands and legions, each following their own dark path. Some pledge their allegiance to a single chaos god, becoming living embodiments of war, plague, excess, or change. Others embrace chaos undivided, drawing power from the warp itself without committing to any single deity. Their ranks are swelled not only by the original traitors of the Horus Heresy, but also by renegade Space Marines who have turned from the Emperor's light in the millennia since. Each new recruit brings fresh skills and knowledge to their unholy crusade, making the Chaos Space Marines an ever-evolving threat. The corruption of the Chaos Space Marines manifests in myriad ways. Some bear mutations that twist their once perfect forms into nightmarish abominations. Others maintain their outward appearance while their minds are warped beyond recognition. All are bound by a common thread, an unquenchable thirst for power, and a burning desire to tear down the Imperium they once served. As we delve into the dark saga of the Chaos Space Marines, we will explore their origins, their fall from grace, and their ongoing war against the forces of the Imperium. We will witness the terrible majesty of their demon Primarchs, demigods who now rule over hellish demon worlds. We will uncover the forbidden technologies and warp-tainted weapons that make them such formidable foes. The story of the Chaos Space Marines is one of cautionary tales and tragic falls, of brothers turned to bitter enemies, and of the thin line between devotion and damnation. It is a reminder that even the mightiest can fall, and that the price of power often comes at the cost of one's soul. In the battles to come, the Chaos Space Marines stand as a dark reflection of the Imperium's might, a constant reminder of the horrors that lurk in the void between stars and in the hearts of men. They are the nemesis of the Imperium, the bane of worlds, and the harbingers of a future where the only constants are war, betrayal, and the laughter of thirsting gods. As we embark on this journey into the heart of darkness, remember that in the world of Warhammer 40,000, there are no true heroes, only varying shades of villainy. and few embody this grim reality more than the fallen angels of the Chaos Space Marines. The galaxy trembles at the mention of the Chaos Space Marines, but these fallen warriors are not the only actors in this cosmic drama of corruption and warfare. To truly understand the impact and significance of these traitor legions, we must examine the key players that both oppose and support their nefarious agenda. At the forefront of resistance against the Chaos Space Marines stand their loyalist counterparts, the Adeptus Astartes. These genetically enhanced super soldiers, steadfast in their devotion to the Emperor, represent humanity's best defense against the forces of chaos. The Space Marines' unwavering resolve and superhuman abilities make them formidable opponents, often serving as the last line of defense against their corrupted brethren. The Inquisition, the Emperor's secret police, plays a crucial role in combating the insidious influence of chaos. Inquisitors of the Ordo Malleus specialize in rooting out demonic threats and countering the machinations of the ruinous powers. Their relentless pursuit of heretics and traitors often brings them into direct conflict with Chaos Space Marines and their mortal followers. The Grey Knights, a secretive chapter of psychically gifted Space Marines, serve as the militant arm of the Ordo Malleus. These silver-armored warriors are specifically engineered to combat demonic entities and are often deployed against the most severe chaos incursions. Their mere existence is a closely guarded secret known only to a select few within the Imperium. On the side of chaos, the Dark Gods themselves play a pivotal role. Khorne, the Blood God, Nurgle, the Lord of Decay, Tzeentch, the Changer of Ways, and Slaanesh, the Prince of Pleasure, each vie for the souls of mortals and the allegiance of the Chaos Space Marines. These incomprehensible entities grant their followers supernatural powers and mutations, shaping the Chaos Space Marines into living weapons of destruction. The Demon Primarchs, once loyal sons of the Emperor, now serve as the exalted champions of chaos. These demigods, such as Mortarion of the Death Guard and Magnus the Red of the Thousand Sons, lead their respective legions from the depths of the Eye of Terror. Their presence on the battlefield can turn the tide of entire campaigns, their power rivaling that of the mightiest Imperial forces. Abaddon, the Despoiler, War Master of Chaos and successor to Horus, stands as perhaps the most infamous leader among the Chaos Space Marines. His Black Legion, composed of warriors from various traitor legions, serves as the spearhead for many of the most devastating Black Crusades against the Imperium. Abaddon's tactical acumen and relentless determination make him a constant threat to Imperial stability. The Dark Mechanicum, renegade tech priests who turn their backs on the Omnissiah, provide crucial support to the Chaos Space Marines. These corrupt engineers and scientists create twisted war machines and demonic engines that bolster the traitors' military might. Their forbidden knowledge of archaeotech and warp-infused technology gives the forces of chaos a significant edge in many engagements. Chaos cultists, the mortal followers of the Dark Gods, form a vital part of many Chaos Space Marine warbands. These fanatical humans serve as cannon fodder, spies, and logistical support for their transhuman masters. Their presence on Imperial worlds often heralds the arrival of Chaos Space Marines as they work to undermine planetary defenses from within. The Adeptus Mechanicus, while staunchly opposed to chaos, inadvertently plays a role in the ongoing conflict. Their relentless pursuit of knowledge and technology sometimes leads to the discovery of ancient artifacts or forgotten lore that can be exploited by the forces of chaos. The Mechanicus' vast forges and shipyards also make them prime targets for chaos raids seeking to bolster their arsenals. Rogue traders and other independent human factions occasionally find themselves caught between the Imperium and the forces of chaos. Some may unwittingly aid Chaos Space Marines through trade or exploration, while others actively collaborate with the traitors for personal gain. These wildcard elements add an element of unpredictability to the ongoing war against chaos. Xenos races, such as the Eldar and the Necrons, view the spread of chaos with grave concern. While they may not directly ally with Imperial forces, these ancient species sometimes take action to thwart the plans of Chaos Space Marines when their own interests are threatened. The Eldar, in particular, have been known to manipulate events to prevent major Chaos incursions. The Officio Assassinorum, the Imperium's elite cadre of assassins, often targets key Chaos Space Marine leaders and cultist cells. Their precise strikes can disrupt Chaos operations and eliminate threats before they fully materialize. However, the unique abilities of Chaos Space Marines make them challenging targets, even for these highly trained killers. Planetary governors and local Imperial authorities play a crucial role in either resisting or succumbing to Chaos influence. Their decisions can determine whether a world stands firm against corruption or falls to the whispers of the dark gods. The political maneuvering and power struggles within Imperial society often create opportunities that Chaos Space Marines are quick to exploit. As the narrative of the Chaos Space Marines unfolds, these key players interact in a complex web of alliances, betrayals, and conflicts. Their actions shape the fate of entire sectors and influence the balance of power in the ongoing struggle for galactic dominance. Understanding the motivations and capabilities of each faction is crucial to comprehending the true scope of the threat posed by the Chaos Space Marines and the challenges faced by those who stand against them. The seeds of betrayal that would give rise to the Chaos Space Marines were sown long before the first bolt was fired in the Horus Heresy. The Emperor's grand vision for humanity's future, while noble in intent, carried within it the very flaws that would lead to its near destruction. At the heart of this tragedy lies the creation of the Primarchs, 20 superhuman beings engineered by the Emperor to lead his Great Crusade. These demigods, each imbued with a fraction of the Emperor's power, were scattered across the galaxy by the machinations of chaos, their destinies forever altered by the worlds that raised them. The Emperor's secrecy regarding the true nature of the warp and the existence of chaos gods left his sons vulnerable to their influence. As the Primarchs were reunited with their legions, each brought with them the cultures and beliefs of their adopted homeworlds, introducing diverse philosophies and potential points of contention within the Imperium's power structure. The rapid expansion of the Imperium during the Great Crusade stretched the bonds between the Primarchs and their father. As the Emperor returned to Terra to work on his secret Webway project, he left Horus in command as War Master. This decision, while practical, sowed the seeds of resentment among some of the other Primarchs who felt overlooked or undervalued. The Council of Nicaea, convened to address the use of psychic powers within the legions, created deep divisions. The Emperor's decree limiting the use of psychers was seen by some, particularly Magnus the Red, as a betrayal of their potential and a denial of a fundamental aspect of human evolution. The warrior culture fostered within the Space Marine legions, while essential for their role as conquerors, also created an environment ripe for extremism. Legions like the World Eaters and the Night Lords pushed the boundaries of acceptable conduct, their brutal tactics foreshadowing their eventual fall to chaos. The Imperium's policy of imperial truth, which sought to stamp out religion and superstition, ironically left many worlds defenseless against the subtle corruptions of chaos. By denying the existence of gods, the Imperium inadvertently made its citizens more susceptible to the whispers of entities they were ill-equipped to understand or resist. Pervasive corruption within the bureaucracy of the expanding Imperium led to feelings of disillusionment among some Primarchs and their legions. Worlds brought into compliance often suffered under the weight of imperial tithes and mismanagement, contradicting the lofty ideals of the Great Crusade. The discovery of ancient technologies and forgotten lore during the Great Crusade exposed many Space Marines to ideas and powers beyond their comprehension. Some legions, like the Thousand Sons, delved too deeply into forbidden knowledge, setting them on a path that would ultimately lead to their corruption. Interactions with Xenos races during the Great Crusade challenged the Imperium's policy of human supremacy. Some legions, notably the Alpha Legion, began to question the wisdom of exterminating all alien life, creating ideological rifts within the Imperium's military forces. The Emperor's apparent divinity, contrasted with his insistence on a secular Imperium, created cognitive dissonance among many of his followers. This contradiction would later be exploited by Chaos, offering a seemingly more consistent worldview to those who felt betrayed by the Emperor's policies. Personal rivalries and grudges between Primarchs, fostered over years of conquest, provided fertile ground for the seeds of heresy. These interpersonal conflicts, when magnified by the power of beings such as the Primarchs, had galaxy-spanning consequences. The Imperium's rapid expansion outpaced its ability to effectively govern its new territories. This led to feelings of abandonment and resentment on frontier worlds, creating pockets of discontent that would later serve as rallying points for the traitor legions. The existence of the Librarius within some legions, despite the Edict of Nicaea, created tension and mistrust. This selective enforcement of the Emperor's decrees undermined faith in the Imperium's leadership and its ability to govern consistently. Exposure to chaos artifacts and warp phenomena during compliance actions subtly influenced many Space Marines long before their official fall. These encounters, often dismissed or covered up, planted the seeds of corruption that would later bloom into full-fledged heresy. The Imperium's focus on military might at the expense of cultural development left many worlds feeling oppressed rather than liberated. This cultural void would later be filled by chaos cults and other subversive elements, paving the way for widespread rebellion. The Emperor's treatment of the Primarchs as tools rather than sons created deep-seated emotional wounds. This lack of paternal affection left many Primarchs susceptible to the temptations offered by the Chaos Gods, who promised recognition and power. The hierarchical structure of the Imperium, with the Emperor at its apex, paradoxically made the entire system vulnerable to corruption from the top. Once key figures like Horus turned to Chaos, their influence quickly spread through the chain of command. The descent of the Chaos Space Marines into darkness unfolded across millennia, marked by pivotal events that forever altered the fate of the galaxy. This chronicle of corruption begins with the Horus Heresy, a cataclysmic civil war that tore the Imperium asunder. Horus's fall to chaos on the moon of Davin marked the true beginning of the heresy. Wounded and desperate, the War Master succumbed to the whispers of the dark gods, his mind and body twisted by their corrupting influence. This moment of weakness would have far-reaching consequences, setting in motion a chain of events that would reshape the Imperium. The massacre at Istvan III saw the first open act of betrayal, as Horus ordered the virus bombing of loyalist elements within the traitor legions. This brutal culling not only eliminated potential opposition, but also irrevocably committed the traitor forces to their dark path. The drop site massacre on Istvan V proved to be a devastating blow to the loyalist forces. What began as a punitive expedition against the traitors turned into a carefully orchestrated trap, decimating 3 entire loyal legions and crippling 4 others. This event shattered any hope of a quick resolution to the conflict. As the heresy spread, entire systems fell to the forces of chaos. Worlds that had known only the Emperor's light now burned with the unholy fires of rebellion. The traitor legions, empowered by their new allegiances, laid waste to loyalist strongholds and corrupted untold billions. The schism of Mars divided the Mechanicum, with many tech priests embracing the forbidden knowledge offered by chaos. This split not only provided the traitors with crucial technological support, but also denied the loyalists full access to the Imperium's industrial might. The Shadow Crusade, led by Lorgar and Angron, ravaged the Ultramar region, tying down the Ultramarines and preventing them from aiding in the defense of Terra. This campaign of destruction reshaped entire sectors and left deep scars that would take millennia to heal. Magnus the Red's ill-fated attempt to warn the Emperor of Horus's betrayal resulted in the devastation of Prospero and the fall of the Thousand Sons to Tzinch. This tragedy highlighted the dangerous nature of psychic powers and the terrible price of misunderstanding. The Siege of Terra marked the climax of the heresy as Horus's forces assaulted the very heart of the Imperium. For 55 days, the fate of humanity hung in the balance as gods and demigods clashed amid the ruins of the Imperial Palace. The Emperor's confrontation with Horus aboard the Vengeful Spirit brought the heresy to its conclusion. Though victorious, the Emperor was mortally wounded, forever changing the nature of his relationship with humanity and the Imperium he had built. In the aftermath of the heresy, the traitor legions fled to the Eye of Terror, a vast warp storm that would become their primary stronghold. From this hellish realm, they would launch countless black crusades against the Imperium over the following millennia. The Scouring saw the Loyalist forces drive the traitors from Imperial space, but at a terrible cost. Countless worlds were subjected to exterminatus, deemed too corrupted to save. This period of retribution further entrenched the division between Loyalist and traitor. The fragmentation of the traitor legions into war bands and smaller factions occurred as they adapted to life within the Eye of Terror. Without the unifying presence of their primarchs, many Chaos Space Marines turned to internal power struggles and vendettas. The rise of Abaddon the Despoiler as the new War Master of Chaos marked a turning point for the traitor forces. His Black Crusades would become the primary vector for large-scale chaos incursions into Imperial space, each one leaving devastation in its wake. The emergence of the demon primarchs as godlike entities within the Eye of Terror reshaped the power dynamics of the chaos forces. These once mortal beings, now ascended to demonhood, became objects of worship and sources of terrible power for their followers. The creation of the Great Rift, a massive warp storm splitting the galaxy in two, heralded a new era of conflict. This cataclysmic event allowed chaos forces to pour into real space in unprecedented numbers, threatening the very existence of the Imperium. Throughout these millennia of war and corruption, the Chaos Space Marines have evolved, their bodies and minds warped by exposure to the energies of the warp. What began as a force of transhuman warriors has become a diverse and terrifying array of mutants, demon hosts, and warp-touched abominations. The ongoing recruitment of new Chaos Space Marines, whether through the corruption of Loyalist chapters or the creation of new warriors using stolen gene seed, ensures that their numbers remain a constant threat. Each generation brings new skills and knowledge to the forces of chaos, allowing them to adapt to the ever-changing nature of warfare in the 41st millennium. As the time of ending approaches, the Chaos Space Marines stand poised to play a pivotal role in the final fate of the galaxy. Their actions continue to shape the course of history, their very existence a constant reminder of the thin line between loyalty and betrayal, between devotion and damnation. The galaxy held its breath as the Emperor of Mankind and his most favored son, Horus Lupercal, faced each other aboard the Vengeful Spirit. This confrontation, the culmination of years of betrayal and war, would determine the fate of humanity for millennia to come. As the two titans clashed, their battle transcended the physical realm. Psychic energies crackled around them, reality itself bending under the weight of their conflict. The Emperor, in his infinite wisdom, hesitated to unleash his full power against his beloved son, hoping against hope that Horus could be redeemed. This moment of paternal compassion proved nearly fatal. Horus, fully given over to the ruinous powers, showed no such restraint. He struck the Emperor down, dealing catastrophic damage to his father's physical form. The fate of the Imperium hung by a thread. In that crucial instant, as Horus stood triumphant over his fallen father, a lone Adeptus Custodes soldier breached the chamber. Some accounts name him as Olanius Pius, a simple guardsman who stood defiant in the face of the War Master's might. Regardless of his identity, this brave soul's sacrifice cleared the Emperor's mind of all doubt. Realizing the full extent of Horus's corruption, the Emperor gathered his immense psychic might. In a blinding flash of power that seared the eyes of all who witnessed it, he unleashed his full strength against his fallen son. Horus, Avatar of Chaos, was obliterated, his soul destroyed so utterly that not even the dark gods could reclaim it. The Emperor's victory came at a terrible cost. Mortally wounded, he was found by Rogel Dorn and rushed back to Terra. There, by the Emperor's own instruction, he was interred within the Golden Throne, a life support device of unimaginable complexity. This singular event reshaped the Imperium in ways that would echo through the millennia. The Emperor, once a living god walking among his people, became a silent, immobile figure, sustaining humanity through his immense psychic sacrifice, but no longer able to directly guide his empire. The power vacuum left by the Emperor's incapacitation led to sweeping changes in imperial governance. The High Lords of Terra assumed control, interpreting the Emperor's will and ruling in his name. This shift from the direct rule of a superhuman demigod to a council of mortals fundamentally altered the character of the Imperium. In the aftermath of the Horus Heresy, the Imperium adopted a policy of suspicion and zealotry. The Inquisition was formed, tasked with rooting out heresy and corruption wherever it might be found. This organization would become both the shield and the scourge of humanity, protecting it from threats while often employing methods as brutal as those of the enemy. The Adeptus Ministorum, or Ecclesiarchy, rose to prominence in the power struggle following the Emperor's internment. The secular imperial truth was abandoned in favor of the imperial cult, which deified the Emperor and spread his worship across the galaxy. This shift towards religious fervor provided a unifying force for the Imperium, but also laid the groundwork for future conflicts. The loyalist Space Marine legions, reeling from their losses and the betrayal of their brothers, underwent a radical reorganization. Following the teachings of Robert Guilliman's Codex Astartes, the legions were broken down into smaller chapters. This decision, while reducing the potential damage of future betrayals, also diminished the strategic flexibility of the Adeptus Astartes. For the traitor legions, their defeat at Terra marked not an end, but a dark new beginning. Fleeing to the Eye of Terror, they became fully immersed in the corrupting energies of the warp. Over time, they would emerge as twisted reflections of their former selves, their transhuman bodies and minds warped by the touch of chaos. The Imperium, forever changed by the heresy, adopted a policy of xenophobia and technological stagnation. Fear of corruption led to the suppression of innovation and the persecution of those deemed different. This approach, while born of caution, would ultimately hamper humanity's ability to adapt to new threats. In the millennia that followed, the events aboard the Vengeful Spirit took on mythic proportions. The tale of the Emperor's sacrifice became a cornerstone of imperial doctrine, inspiring countless acts of heroism and self-sacrifice in his name. The loss of Horus and the retreat of the traitor legions created a power vacuum within the forces of chaos. This void would eventually be filled by Abaddon the Despoiler, Horus's former first captain. Under his leadership, the Black Legion would launch crusade after crusade against the Imperium, each one a fresh wound in the Emperor's realm. The physical and psychic trauma inflicted upon the Emperor necessitated the sacrifice of thousands of psychics each day to maintain his life and power the Astronomicon. This grim necessity became an integral part of imperial culture, with entire worlds dedicated to the production and training of psychers for this purpose. As the millennia wore on, the true nature of the confrontation aboard the Vengeful Spirit faded into legend. Different factions within the Imperium promoted their own versions of events, each emphasizing elements that supported their particular ideology or agenda. The Adeptus Mechanicus, deeply shaken by the schism that saw so many of their number turn to chaos, redoubled their efforts to recover and protect ancient technologies. This focus on the preservation of old knowledge, rather than the creation of new, would define the technological development of the Imperium for millennia to come. The fall of the Chaos Space Marines sent shockwaves across the galaxy, reshaping the political, military, and spiritual landscape of the Imperium. Their betrayal left an indelible mark on human civilization, forever altering the course of history. In the immediate aftermath of the Horus Heresy, the Imperium found itself in a state of unprecedented vulnerability. Countless worlds lay in ruins, entire sectors had fallen to darkness, and the very foundations of imperial rule had been shaken to their core. The traitors' retreat to the Eye of Terror offered little respite, as the threat of their return loomed like a shadow over humanity's future. The loss of half the Space Marine legions dealt a crippling blow to the Imperium's military might. Once the pinnacle of human genetic engineering and martial prowess, these transhuman warriors now stood as a dire threat to the very empire they had helped build. This depletion of loyal forces left many sectors exposed to Xenos incursions and rebel uprisings. To counter this weakness, the remaining loyalist legions underwent a radical reorganization. The implementation of the Codex Astartes saw the legions split into smaller, more manageable chapters. This restructuring, while reducing the potential damage of future betrayals, also diminished the Adeptus Astartes' ability to respond to large-scale threats with overwhelming force. The betrayal of the Mechanicum elements that sided with Horus led to a severe technological regression across the Imperium. Much knowledge was lost in the conflict, and what remained became jealously guarded. Innovation gave way to superstition, with technological advancement viewed with suspicion and fear. This stagnation would hamper the Imperium's ability to adapt to new challenges in the millennia to come. Spiritually, the heresy shattered the imperial truth, the secular doctrine that had been the foundation of the Emperor's vision. In its place rose the imperial cult, deifying the Emperor and establishing a galaxy-wide theocracy. This shift towards religious fervor provided a unifying force for humanity, but also laid the groundwork for future conflicts and oppression. The creation of the Inquisition and the Adeptus Ministorum marked a turn towards authoritarianism and zealotry. These organizations, born from the paranoia and trauma of the heresy, would shape imperial policy for millennia. Their influence led to a culture of suspicion where heresy was seen lurking in every shadow. The Eye of Terror, swollen by the events of the heresy, became a festering wound in the fabric of real space. This vast warp storm served as both a refuge and a staging ground for the traitor legions, allowing them to launch periodic incursions into imperial space. The constant threat of chaos raids kept the Imperium in a state of perpetual vigilance, draining resources and manpower. The ascension of the demon Primarchs transformed them into godlike entities, their very existence a perversion of the Emperor's work. These beings became objects of terror and forbidden worship, their names spoken only in whispers across the Imperium. Their continued existence served as a constant reminder of the Imperium's greatest failure. The galactic balance of power shifted dramatically in the wake of the heresy. Xenos races, sensing the Imperium's weakness, launched opportunistic attacks on human-held worlds. The Orcs, in particular, took advantage of the chaos to establish new empires in regions left undefended by the retreating Imperial forces. The loss of so many Psykers during the conflict, combined with the Emperor's internment on the Golden Throne, led to a severe shortage of navigators and astropaths. This deficiency hampered interstellar travel and communication, further fragmenting the Imperium and leaving distant sectors isolated and vulnerable. Entire planetary populations, traumatized by the horror of brother turning against brother, fell into superstition and paranoia. Witch hunts became commonplace as citizens turned on one another in a desperate attempt to root out perceived corruption. This atmosphere of fear and mistrust would become a hallmark of Imperial culture. The traitor legions exiled to the Eye of Terror did not end their threat to the Imperium. Instead, it transformed them into a mythic horror, an ever-present danger that could strike at any moment. The periodic Black Crusades launched from this hellish realm kept the Imperium in a state of constant war footing, shaping military doctrine and resource allocation for millennia. The corruption of the Space Marines, once thought impossible, led to increased scrutiny and suspicion of even the loyalist chapters. Purity tests and loyalty checks became standard practice, with entire chapters subjected to inquisitorial investigation at the slightest hint of deviation from imperial doctrine. The need to maintain a vigilant watch over the Eye of Terror led to the establishment of the Cadian Gate, a heavily fortified system that would stand as humanity's bulwark against chaos for 10,000 years. The militarization of this region reshaped sector-wide economies and societies, with countless lives dedicated to the never-ending vigil. The arsenal of the Chaos Space Marines is as diverse as it is horrifying, a twisted reflection of their former Imperial allegiance. Their weaponry and tactics have evolved over millennia, incorporating forbidden technologies, demonic pacts, and the raw stuff of the warp itself. At the core of their armory lie corrupted versions of standard Space Marine equipment. Bolters, once symbols of the Emperor's might, now bear unholy runes and fire rounds infused with demonic essence. These weapons not only tear flesh, but also corrupt the soul, each hit spreading the taint of chaos. Power armor, the iconic protection of the Adeptus Astartes, takes on grotesque forms in the hands of Chaos Marines. Melded with the flesh of its wearer over centuries of exposure to the warp, these suits become living extensions of the warrior. Some develop sentience, whispering dark secrets to their hosts. The infamous Chaos Dreadnoughts embody the cruel fate that awaits fallen warriors. Unlike their loyalist counterparts, these war machines often house the tormented spirits of unwilling occupants, driven mad by endless pain and the horrors of the warp. Demon engines represent the pinnacle of chaos war machinery. These nightmarish constructs blend warp energy, demonic possession, and twisted technology. From the towering defilers to the soaring helldrakes, each of these abominations is a testament to the Dark Mechanicum's heretical ingenuity. Warp-forged weapons harness the raw energy of chaos itself. Axes that blaze with hellfire, swords that drink the souls of the slain, and mauls that shatter reality with each blow. These artifacts are as coveted as they are dangerous to wield. The gift of mutation is both a blessing and a curse for Chaos Space Marines. Some develop chitinous armor, others sprout extra limbs or become able to spew corrosive bile. These changes, while often grotesque, can provide significant combat advantages. Psychic abilities, shunned by many loyalist chapters, are embraced by certain Chaos warbands. Sorcerers call upon the power of the warp to unleash devastating spells, summon demons, or twist the fabric of reality itself. Tactical doctrine among Chaos Space Marines varies wildly between warbands. Some, like the World Eaters, favor frenzied close combat assaults. Others, such as the Alpha Legion, employ subterfuge and infiltration. This unpredictability makes them a challenging foe for Imperial strategists. The use of cultists and slave armies is a common tactic among Chaos warbands. These mortal followers, while individually weak, can overwhelm enemies through sheer numbers or act as a living shield for their transhuman masters. Demonic summoning rituals are a potent weapon in the Chaos arsenal. By tearing holes in reality, Chaos sorcerers can call forth entities from the warp to bolster their forces. These demons range from lowly warp spawn to greater demons of immense power. Plague warfare is a specialty of the Death Guard. Nurgle's chosen sons unleash horrific diseases that can devastate entire worlds. These plagues not only kill, but also raise the dead as plague zombies, turning a planet's population against itself. The Emperor's children have perfected the use of sonic weapons. Their noise marines wield devastating sonic blasters that can pulp organs and shatter minds with discordant frequencies. The very music of battle becomes a weapon in their hands. Technological heresy is the domain of the Dark Mechanicum. These fallen tech priests create abominable intelligences, virus code weapons, and scrap code plagues that can corrupt machine spirits and turn a world's own defenses against it. Time manipulation is a rare but terrifying weapon in the Chaos arsenal. Certain sorcerers, particularly those of the Thousand Sons, can alter the flow of time on the battlefield, aging enemies to dust or reversing the wounds of their allies. The Obliterators represent a terrifying melding of flesh, machine, and warp energy. These living weapons can generate any firearm they can imagine directly from their mutated bodies, making them walking arsenals of devastating potential. Possessed Marines, having allowed demons to inhabit their bodies, gain superhuman abilities beyond even their enhanced physiology. These hybrid beings combine the tactical acumen of a Space Marine with the otherworldly powers of a warp entity. Chaos Space Marines often employ terror tactics to break enemy morale. The Night Lords, in particular, are masters of psychological warfare, using fear as a weapon as potent as any blade or bolt. The ability to corrupt and turn loyalist Space Marines is a powerful tool in the Chaos arsenal. Whether through subtle manipulation or overwhelming psychic assault, the temptation of chaos is a constant threat to even the most stalwart defenders of the Imperium. Warp storms can be harnessed by powerful chaos sorcerers, allowing them to isolate battlefields, cut off reinforcements, or even transport entire armies across vast distances in the blink of an eye. The annals of the Chaos Space Marines are rife with figures of terrifying power and insidious influence. These individuals, whether demon primarchs or mortal champions, have left an indelible mark on the galaxy, their names spoken in hushed whispers across 1,000,000 worlds. Abaddon the Despoiler stands paramount among Chaos warlords. Once first captain of the Luna Wolves, now War Master of Chaos, Abaddon has launched 13 Black Crusades against the Imperium. His tactical acumen and indomitable will have united the often fractious forces of Chaos time and again, making him the greatest threat to Imperial stability. Magnus the Red, Primarch of the Thousand Suns, now rules over the planet of sorcerers as a being of pure psychic energy. His mastery of the warp has only grown since his ascension to demonhood, allowing him to manipulate fate and reality on a cosmic scale. Mortarion, the Death Lord, leads his pestilent Death Guard from the plague planet of the Eye of Terror. Once a paragon of resilience, he now spreads Nurgle's blessings across the galaxy, his very presence enough to render worlds uninhabitable. Fulgrim, the demon primarch of the Emperor's Children, embodies the extremes of sensation and excess. His quest for perfection has led him down a path of unimaginable depravity, his actions inspiring countless cults dedicated to Slaanesh. Perturabo, master of siegecraft, has transformed himself and his iron warriors into beings as much machine as flesh. His bitterness towards the Imperium fuels endless campaigns of destruction, each world's fall meticulously planned and executed. Angron, the Red Angel, is the embodiment of Khorne's fury. Once enslaved by the Butcher's nails, he now revels in bloodshed, leading his world eaters on endless campaigns of slaughter across the galaxy. Lorgar Aurelian, the Dark Apostle, was the first to embrace the ruinous powers. Though he has retreated from direct conflict, his influence persists through the Word-Bearers Legion and the countless cults they have spawned. Fabius Bile, the Clone Lord, pursues his twisted vision of human evolution. His experiments in genetic manipulation have created monstrosities that haunt Imperial commanders' nightmares, each abomination a mockery of the Emperor's work. Typhus, Herald of Nurgle, captains the plague ship Terminus Est. His journey through the galaxy leaves a trail of pestilence and decay, his very presence a vector for Nurgle's most virulent creations. Ahriman, exiled arch-sorcerer of the Thousand Suns, scours the galaxy in his quest to undo the flesh change that afflicts his legion. His mastery of forbidden lore makes him one of the most dangerous psychers in existence. Karn the Betrayer, Khorne's most favored mortal champion, embodies the god of war's philosophy of blood and skulls. His rampage knows no end, friend and foe alike falling before his chain-axe Gorechild. Lucius the Eternal, champion of Slaanesh, seeks out the greatest warriors to test his skills against. His curse of rebirth ensures that even in defeat, he returns, ever hungry for new sensations of combat. Huron Blackheart, the tyrant of Badab, leads his Red Corsairs in piratical raids across the Maelstrom. His fall from grace serves as a stark reminder of how even the most loyal can be corrupted. Be'lakor, the first demon prince, manipulates events from the shadows. His ancient grudge against the Chaos Gods drives him to undermine their plans even as he serves their interests. Erebus and Cor Ferrin, dark apostles of the Word-Bearers, were instrumental in Lorgar's fall and the corruption of Horus. Their subtle manipulations continue to sow discord and heresy across the Imperium. The Changeling, a greater demon of Tzeentch, delights in sowing confusion and paranoia. Its ability to perfectly mimic any being has led to the downfall of countless worlds through subversion and deceit. Silas Kong, Chaos Lord of the Black Legion, has risen to prominence in recent centuries. His tactical brilliance and ruthless ambition have made him one of Abaddon's most trusted lieutenants. Voldorius, Demon Prince of the Alpha Legion, exemplifies the insidious nature of his legion. His complex schemes span centuries, each seeming defeat merely a step in a grander plan. Flesh-tearers, once loyal sons of Sanguinius, now revel in bloodshed that would make even Khorne blush. Their fall serves as a grim reminder of the thin line between righteousness and damnation. The realm of Chaos Space Marines is rife with enigmas that continue to perplex even the most learned scholars of the Imperium. These mysteries, some dating back to the Horus Heresy itself, fuel countless theories and investigations across the galaxy. One enduring puzzle is the fate of the two missing Primarchs. Their legions, expunged from Imperial records, remain a subject of intense speculation. Some whisper that these lost sons fell to chaos before Horus, their corruption so complete that even their memory had to be erased. Others theorize they may have been hidden away by the Emperor, perhaps as a failsafe against future calamities. The true nature of Cypher, the elusive figure associated with the fallen Dark Angels, continues to baffle Imperial and Chaos forces alike. His motives remain unclear, his actions seemingly working both for and against the Imperium at different times. Some believe he seeks redemption for the fallen, while others claim he works towards some inscrutable, long-term goal known only to himself. The location of the planet of the sorcerers, Magnus the Red's domain, shifts unpredictably through both real space and the warp. Its sudden appearances have led to devastating incursions, yet the Imperium remains unable to pinpoint its origin or predict its manifestations. The nature of this phenomenon and the power required to move an entire planet at will continue to astound Imperial savants. The creation of new Chaos Space Marines in the 41st millennium raises questions about the source of their gene seed. With loyalist chapters heavily guarding their genetic material, the methods by which traitor legions replenish their ranks remain unclear. Theories range from stolen gene seed to dark pacts with the warp, or even twisted cloning techniques perfected by the likes of Fabius Bile. The existence of loyalist remnants within traitor legions intrigues many. Reports persist of space marines in the colors of fallen legions, fighting alongside Imperial forces or pursuing their own agendas. Whether these are truly loyalists who resisted corruption or elaborate deceptions by Chaos forces remains a topic of heated debate among inquisitorial circles. The nature of time within the Eye of Terror presents another conundrum. Some Chaos Space Marines who emerge from this warp rift appear to have experienced only a fraction of the time that has passed in the material universe. This time dilation effect raises questions about the potential strength of the traitor legions and the possibility of ancient warriors from the Horus Heresy era suddenly reappearing. The apparent immortality of certain Chaos champions, such as Lucius the Eternal, defies explanation. The mechanisms by which these individuals return from death, often inhabiting the bodies of their killers, remain a subject of both fascination and horror for Imperial scholars. Understanding these resurrections could provide crucial insights into the nature of chaos itself. The fate of the Emperor's children's Primarch, Fulgrim, is shrouded in contradictory accounts. Some claim he ascended to demonhood, while others believe he remains trapped within his own sword, a victim of demonic possession. The truth of his condition and its implications for his Legion's leadership structure continue to elude Imperial intelligence. The Alpha Legion's true allegiance remains one of the greatest mysteries surrounding the Chaos Space Marines. Their contradictory actions and the famous last words of their Primarch, Alfarius, "I am Alfarius, and that is a lie," have led to endless speculation about their ultimate goals. Some even theorize that they may be secret loyalists, working against chaos from within. The extent of chaos corruption within seemingly loyal Imperial institutions is a constant source of paranoia. The ability of chaos agents to infiltrate and subvert organizations at the highest levels leaves many wondering how deep the taint truly runs. This uncertainty fuels witch hunts and purges, sometimes weakening the very institutions they aim to protect. The phenomenon of warp storms and their connection to major chaos incursions puzzles Imperial astrocartographers. The ability to predict or even manipulate these storms could provide a significant strategic advantage, yet their nature remains largely unpredictable. Some theorize that powerful chaos sorcerers may have some control over these phenomena, using them to mask their movements or isolate target worlds. The role of the Chaos Gods in the daily operations of the Chaos Space Marines is subject to much speculation. While their influence is undeniable, the extent of their direct involvement in mortal affairs remains unclear. Some believe the gods are merely abstract forces, while others claim they take a more active role in guiding their champions. The possibility of redemption for Chaos Space Marines intrigues both theological and military scholars. Rare accounts exist of traitor Marines renouncing their allegiance to Chaos, but the permanence and sincerity of such conversions are heavily debated. The Imperium's official stance remains one of zero tolerance, yet the potential to reclaim these lost warriors tantalizes some. The true motives behind Abaddon's Black Crusades continue to elude Imperial strategists. While each crusade has wrought tremendous damage, some argue that their true purpose may be more complex than simple conquest. Theories range from testing Imperial defenses to fulfilling some grand long-term strategy whose ultimate goal remains hidden. The Harmony of Despair, a warband of former Emperor's children, has developed a terrifying sonic weapon known as the Cacophony Matrix. This device doesn't just destroy bodies, it shatters minds and souls. Witnesses describe victims exploding into clouds of screaming mist, their essence trapped in eternal agony. On the demon world of Medrengard, the Iron Warriors have constructed impossible fortresses that defy the laws of physics. These citadels twist and reshape themselves, with corridors that lead to different time periods and battlements that overlook other dimensions. The Tomb of Unspoken Oaths, hidden in the depths of the Eye of Terror, is said to contain the bound spirits of Space Marines who betrayed their own traitor legions. These tormented souls are rumored to grant immense power to those brave or foolish enough to strike bargains with them. During the Abyssal Crusade, an entire chapter of loyalist Space Marines was lured into the Eye of Terror. When they emerged centuries later, they had become the warband known as the Vectors of Pox. Their fall serves as a grim reminder that even the most stalwart defenders can succumb to chaos. The Screaming Vortex, a particularly turbulent region of the warp, is home to the Asylum, a space hulk that houses countless insane Chaos Space Marines. These warriors, driven mad by exposure to raw chaos, are periodically released upon real space in devastating raids that defy all tactical logic. Fabius Bile's experiments have produced some truly nightmarish creations, but none more so than the Chirurgeon. This grotesque fusion of apothecary and demon engine harvests gene seed from fallen Space Marines on the battlefield, using it to create new abominations even as the fight rages on. The chaotic artifact known as the Anathema Quartus is believed to be a fragment of the Emperor's own psychic power, corrupted and twisted by the ruinous powers. Its very presence causes loyal Space Marines to question their faith and turn upon their brothers. In the aftermath of the devastation of Baal, reports emerged of Blood Angel successors falling to the Black Rage, turning not red in their madness, but black. These midnight revelers now stalk the void, hunting both loyalist and traitor alike in their unquenchable thirst for vengeance. The warp-infested forges of the Dark Mechanicum have produced technological horrors beyond imagination. One such abomination is the mnemonic Predator, a tank that doesn't just destroy its targets, but absorbs their memories, using this stolen knowledge to predict and counter enemy strategies. The belief that all Chaos Space Marines are inherently evil oversimplifies their complex nature. Many fell to chaos through manipulation, desperation, or a misguided desire to save humanity. Their motivations often remain nuanced, with some even believing they fight for a greater good. A common misconception holds that Chaos Space Marines are immortal. While warp exposure can extend their lifespans, most can still die permanently. Only a few, through specific pacts or circumstances, achieve a form of immortality. The idea that all traitor legions turned simultaneously during the Horus Heresy is inaccurate. Each legion's fall occurred at different times and for varied reasons, with some resisting corruption longer than others. Many believe that Chaos Space Marines cannot create new Astartes. In reality, they employ various methods to bolster their ranks, including stolen gene seed and dark rituals. The notion that all Chaos Space Marines worship the Chaos Gods is false. Many serve Chaos undivided or pursue their own agendas without direct allegiance to any deity. A persistent myth suggests that Abaddon the Despoiler's Black Crusades all failed. In truth, each crusade achieved specific objectives, culminating in the creation of the Great Rift. Some incorrectly assume that Chaos Space Marines lack discipline or strategic thinking. Many retain their tactical acumen, making them formidable opponents capable of complex, long-term planning. The belief that Chaos corruption is always visible is mistaken. Many Chaos agents can hide their taint, infiltrating Imperial organizations undetected. A common error is thinking that all demon Primarchs actively lead their legions. Some, like Fulgrim, have become disconnected from their son's activities. The idea that Chaos Space Marines cannot use advanced technology is false. The Dark Mechanicum provides them with twisted versions of Imperial tech, sometimes surpassing Loyalist capabilities. Many incorrectly believe that Chaos Space Marines cannot feel fear. While their psychology is altered, most still experience emotions, including fear, albeit often in distorted forms. The notion that all Alpha Legion Astartes are identical is a myth. While they use deception and similar appearances as tactics, individual variation exists within the Legion. Some think that Chaos Space Marines are mindless berserkers. In reality, many retain their intelligence and are capable of subtle, intricate plots. A misconception persists that Chaos Space Marines cannot return to the Emperor's light. While rare, instances of redemption have occurred, though often at great cost. The belief that all Chaos Space Marines desire to overthrow the Imperium is overly simplistic. Some seek personal power, knowledge, or other goals not directly tied to the Imperium's fall. Many incorrectly assume that Chaos Space Marines are constantly at war. In reality, they engage in various activities, including trade, exploration, and politicking within their own realms. The idea that Chaos Space Marines cannot cooperate with Xenos races is false. Pragmatic alliances, while rare, do occur when it serves their interests. Some believe that all Chaos Space Marines are psychers. While warp exposure can grant some psychic abilities, not all possess significant psychic power. A common error is thinking that Chaos Space Marines no longer use traditional combat tactics. Many still employ sophisticated strategies alongside their warp-based abilities. The notion that Chaos Space Marines are immune to the negative effects of the warp is incorrect. Many suffer mutations, madness, or other consequences of prolonged warp exposure. The fleets of the Chaos Space Marines are as diverse and corrupted as their masters, each vessel a nightmarish fusion of ancient technology and warp-born horror. These ships, many dating back to the Great Crusade, have been twisted by millennia of exposure to the Imperium, becoming as much living entities as machines of war. The Eternal Crusader, Abaddon's flagship, stands as a terrifying example of chaos naval might. This massive battleship, once known as the Hrafnkel, has been infused with the essence of a greater demon, its corridors writhing with tendrils of warp energy. The ship's weapons draw power directly from the Imperium, unleashing devastating barrages that can shatter void shields and crack planet surfaces. The Planet Killer, another infamous vessel in Abaddon's arsenal, lives up to its ominous name. This colossal ship houses a weapon capable of destroying entire worlds, its main gun drawing upon the power of enslaved psychers to fire a beam of pure annihilation. The mere sight of this monstrous craft is enough to break the morale of even the most stalwart Imperial defenders. The Terminus Est, flagship of Typhus, herald of Nurgle, is less a ship and more a mobile plague factory. Its hull is encrusted with the rotting corpses of its victims, while its interior is a maze of pustulant flesh and rusted metal. The vessel exudes a miasma of death, capable of infecting entire star systems with Nurgle's newest contagions. The vengeful spirit, once the flagship of Horus himself, continues to haunt the nightmares of Imperial commanders. Though its current whereabouts remain unknown, sightings of this legendary vessel send shockwaves through Imperial space. The ship is said to be imbued with a fragment of Horus's own essence, its corridors echoing with the ghostly laughter of the fallen War Master. The Covenant of Blood, the flagship of the World Eaters, reflects the Legion's savage nature. Its blood-red hull is adorned with gigantic chain axes and brass skulls, while its ramming prow has been consecrated to Khorne with the skulls of 1,000 worlds. The ship's engines roar with berserker fury, allowing it to close with enemy vessels at terrifying speeds. The Sycorax, command ship of Huron Blackheart and the Red Corsairs, epitomizes the piratical nature of its master. This heavily modified battle barge houses innumerable treasures plundered from across the galaxy. Its labyrinthine interior is designed to confuse borders, filled with traps and hidden chambers that conceal the warband's ill-gotten gains. The Excruciator, flagship of the Emperor's Children, is a vessel dedicated to the extremes of sensation. Its exterior bristles with sound amplifiers that broadcast the ship's devastating sonic weapons, while its interior is a decadent palace of pleasure and pain. The ship's crew exists in a constant state of drug-fueled frenzy, their agonized ecstasy empowering the vessel's warp drives. The Iron Blood, Perturabo's personal battleship, is a masterpiece of corrupted technology. Its outer hull can reconfigure itself in battle, presenting an ever-changing array of weapon ports and armor plates to confound enemy targeting systems. The ship's interior is a testament to the Iron Warrior's mastery of siege warfare, filled with forges and workshops dedicated to creating ever more devastating weapons. The Tsenchion vessel known as the Kaleidoscope Mandala defies conventional understanding of spacecraft design. Its crystalline structure constantly shifts and changes, with corridors and chambers rearranging themselves seemingly at random. The ship's warp drives allow it to phase in and out of reality, making it nearly impossible to track or engage in conventional naval combat. The Nightmare of Malice, a ship associated with the Night Lords, embodies the Legion's terror tactics. Its hull is painted with a light-absorbing substance, allowing it to disappear against the void of space. The vessel's communication arrays are capable of broadcasting horrific visions directly into the minds of enemy crews, sowing panic and despair before a single shot is fired. The Wage of Sin, a word-bearer's ship, serves as a mobile cathedral to the dark gods. Its interior is a maze of unholy shrines and sacrificial altars where countless slaves are offered to the ruinous powers. The vessel's outer hull is inscribed with dark prayers in letters of fire, each word a blasphemy against the Emperor's light. The Alpha Legion's Hydra's Fang is a ship shrouded in mystery and misdirection. Its true appearance is unknown, as it employs advanced holographic technology to mimic other vessels. The ship's interior is equally confounding, with multiple command bridges and contradictory internal layouts designed to frustrate any attempts at infiltration or capture. These vessels represent just a fraction of the terrible fleet at the disposal of the Chaos Space Marines. Each ship, corrupted by the touch of the warp and infused with the malevolent will of its masters, stands as a dark reflection of the Imperial Navy's might. In the endless war for the galaxy's fate, these nightmarish craft continue to bring ruin and damnation to all who stand in their path. The legacy of the Chaos Space Marines extends far beyond the immediate devastation they wreak across the galaxy. Their very existence serves as a dark mirror to the Imperium, a constant reminder of humanity's potential for both greatness and terrible corruption. As the time of ending approaches, the influence of these fallen warriors continues to shape the fate of the galaxy in profound and often unexpected ways. The psychological impact of the Chaos Space Marines on Imperial citizens cannot be overstated. Their betrayal has fostered a culture of paranoia and suspicion that permeates every level of Imperial society. This atmosphere of fear, while often stifling progress and innovation, also serves as a bulwark against further corruption, keeping the populace vigilant against the insidious touch of chaos. The ongoing war against the traitor legions has forced the Imperium to adapt and evolve its military strategies. The formation of specialized units like the Grey Knights and the development of advanced anti-chaos weaponry are direct responses to the threat posed by these superhuman renegades. In a grim irony, the very enemies that seek to destroy the Imperium have in many ways made it stronger and more resilient. The existence of the Chaos Space Marines has had a profound impact on the Adeptus Astartes. The betrayal of their brothers has instilled in loyalist Space Marines a fierce determination to prove their worth and loyalty. This drive for redemption has led to countless acts of heroism and sacrifice as each chapter strives to distance itself from the sins of the past. The technological arms race between the Imperium and the forces of chaos has pushed the boundaries of human knowledge and capability. The Dark Mechanicum's twisted innovations have forced the Adeptus Mechanicus to become more flexible in its approach to technology, leading to advancements that might otherwise have taken millennia to develop. The spiritual impact of the Chaos Space Marines on the Imperial Creed cannot be ignored. Their fall from grace has been woven into religious doctrine, serving as a cautionary tale against the dangers of pride and ambition. The Imperial cult's emphasis on unwavering faith and self-sacrifice can be seen as a direct response to the perceived weaknesses that led to the heresy. The existence of Chaos Space Marines has also influenced Imperial governance. The threat of corruption at the highest levels has led to the implementation of extensive checks and balances within the Adeptus Terra. While often bureaucratic and inefficient, these measures have helped maintain the stability of the Imperium over the millennia. The ongoing conflict with the traitor legions has shaped Imperial diplomacy and foreign policy. The constant threat of chaos incursions has forced the Imperium to adopt a more pragmatic approach to Xenos relations, leading to uneasy alliances and non-aggression pacts that would have been unthinkable in earlier eras. The fall of the traitor legions has had a lasting impact on Imperial culture and art. Tales of their betrayal and the heroism of those who stood against them have become the stuff of legend, inspiring countless works of literature, sculpture, and music across the Imperium. These cultural touchstones serve to reinforce Imperial values and maintain unity in the face of external threats. The threat posed by Chaos Space Marines has led to advancements in Imperial psyker training and control. The development of more sophisticated screening techniques and containment protocols can be directly attributed to the need to counteract the psychic powers wielded by chaos sorcerers and demon-possessed warriors. The existence of redeemed Chaos Space Marines, while rare, has sparked intense theological and philosophical debates within the Imperium. These cases challenge the notion of irredeemable corruption and raise questions about the nature of free will in a universe dominated by godlike entities. The strategic doctrines developed to combat Chaos Space Marines have found applications in other areas of Imperial warfare. Tactics designed to counter the unpredictable nature of Chaos assaults have proven effective against other enemies, from Orc Wag to Tyrannid High Fleets. The threat of Chaos corruption has led to a re-evaluation of Imperial education and indoctrination practices. More emphasis is now placed on mental fortitude and resistance to external influence, producing citizens who are theoretically better equipped to resist the temptations of Chaos. The ongoing war against the traitor legions has forced the Imperium to become more adaptable in its approach to territorial control. The need to respond quickly to Chaos incursions has led to the development of more flexible command structures and rapid response forces. As the time of ending approaches, the role of the Chaos Space Marines in the fate of the galaxy remains uncertain. Some prophesy that they will be the architects of humanity's final downfall, while others believe their existence is a necessary trial, forging the Imperium into a force capable of facing the challenges that lie ahead. Whatever the future holds, the impact of these fallen warriors on the course of human history is undeniable, their legacy etched into the very fabric of the Imperium they once served.